to Unsigned518. I'm here with New Monarchy. How's it going?
It's going well. Good.
And, you guys came on my radar, like, a lot of the times, bands, I always say, like, I don't really do my research, but, like, I kind of know of the bands, or, I've been a little familiar. You guys came out of fucking nowhere on my radar, and, like, within the hour that I had first heard your name, I think I had you guys booked on the show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, wow, that song fucking rocks. I'm going to reach out to these dudes. Nice. So I guess, I always say, like, I'm kind of learning the story of the band, but, like, this is going to be as organic as you can get, because we just met about 7 minutes ago, and I've forgotten all your names and everything, so this is going to be like a true catching our first meeting on microphone. So I guess whoever wants to take the lead to start the story of New Monarchy, go ahead and well, actually, before we do, we should probably introduce everybody. So why don't we pass the mics around, and we'll start here, and just introduce yourself and then what you do in the band.
For sure. My name's Logan. I play bass and do backing vocals live.
I am Dan. I do the lead vocals and the guitar.
My name's Patrick, and I do the piano and just keys in general.
And then I'm John. I'm the drummer.
Nice. So, who wants to take the lead on starting the conversation about how New Monarchy got together?
Yeah, I can go. So it started. Patrick and I, we were neighbors since like 2008-ish, around there. I moved from Latham here to Clifton Park, and somehow we started to know each other, and he's always been like classically trained on piano, and my first instrument was viola. So a few years passed, and I started doing guitar. We started kind of messing around a little bit together, nothing like official or serious whatsoever. We just laid down a few tracks, and then I think at some point Patrick knew John from school, because we all went to school together besides Logan here. And I think we just asked John to be our drummer, and we just started doing stuff in his basement. A few years later, Logan came around. We John and I worked at a Guitar Center with him.
Oh, nice.
And I guess John talked to Logan about our music, and he kind of knew us a little bit. And then I talked to him, got to know him a bit, and I said, hey, do you want to do bass for us? And he regrets it ever since.
So the style of music, and again, I've literally at this point barely heard any of the music, but it was enough where it really caught my attention. And I'm like an old school, I'm in my 50s, so like my main music is like shit that happened like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And Deftones have always been one of my favorite bands. And even though I wouldn't have necessarily said, like, oh, this sounds like Deftones, because it doesn't sound like Deftones, but it has that, like, unique blending of shit that they have. And, it also made me think, because Deftones have a keyboard player that's been in the band since day one, and a lot of people don't realize, you wouldn't think, like, oh, Deftones have a keyboard player, but he's been there since even before their singer. So I guess I just want to talk about those different styles, because like viola and piano, like it doesn't sound like, if you hear it, not hear the music, but if you hear those two instruments, and you're not like, and then when you hear your music, you're like, holy fuck, that's like not what I was expecting. So I guess where did that sound come from?
I think it started, I guess you can chime in too, Patrick, that the first couple things that Patrick and I ever did just together were like film scores. We loved like the Jason Bourne movies, and those soundtracks by John Powell are just crazy. There's so much feeling in there. So it started with that stuff. I don't know if you want to take it out from there.
I mean, for me, like, I definitely was classically influenced. I lots of Chopin on piano, that kind of stuff. And so I feel like with our kind of sound, what we did is we started off, at least when it was just Dan and I, at like doing very like experimental kind of stuff. And then we kind of like stripped it back from there to produce more of a new Monarchy sound, especially as we got like John on board and Logan. So
I guess that doesn't surprise me with the film score angle of it. When you came into it, you three had already been established. So I guess how do you adapt to something that's that tight and come up and already evolved from 2 instruments to film score, then strip it back? Like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, when I joined in, they had already released their first EP. My background is mainly like hardcore and metalcore, so this is the first time stepping into like an alternative rock kind of scene. But again, like you said, super tight already. Just bringing some of my influences with me without bringing it a little too over the top, but still like powerful choruses. But I mean, even from day one when I met John and John's like, you should check out my band. I like checked it out. And I was like, this is definitely like fantastic. I mean, you guys officially started in like 2021 and somewhere around there. And it's just like, why hasn't this been played on the radio yet? So I saw like the potential for growth and the potential for like expansion, and I was like, I dig this, I should jump in.
Right. Get on the ground floor, so to speak. And that's the thing, I do definitely hear like a national radio potential in even just that one single that was on the Metroland Hot Singles that TJ snuck in last moment. And the reason he snuck that in last moment was because it caught his attention as well. Like it was that much of a, where I was like, fuck, same thing as you were saying. Why isn't this on the radio? Like, it should be on the radio. So is that something that you're aspiring to? Or, you're really trying to grow this and catch a national audience? Or are you, staying local? Or is it kind of not even in your thoughts yet?
I mean, we definitely appreciate our local crowd, for sure. But I know we would definitely like to do this for a living, as most musicians. It's definitely hard to do it, but expanding audiences and reach in states, and if it goes overseas, that's kind of cool and all. Definitely looking to grow for sure.
And with like the streaming and being able to like catch a national, or I'm sure like on Spotify, like you'll just all of a sudden see like, what, somebody in Germany,
right?
liked our songs, and then all of a sudden you go back a month later and you're like, wow, like 30 people in Germany like our song. Like, so I think that is a good, tool, a good place to be in,
right?
But also, like you said, the local thing, like, because I'm a huge proponent of community is what helps. You know what I mean? If you're that band that's talented, but you're also work well with others, you've got a better shot, I think, or at least theoretically. Like, there's certainly some people that just step on everybody to get to the top and then end up making it, but it's usually not the way, or not the cool way. Anyway. But and before we got rolling, I probably should have mentioned that we want to play a couple of your songs. I did not mention that, but we want to play a couple of your songs. So which song are we going to play for the folks?
I think we'll go for Lab Rat.
All right, sweet. Let's check out Lab Rat's new Monarchy, and then we'll be right back to talk some over the boys.
Something that you want, it is graceless. A mind of its
That was Lab Rats, New Monarchy. And that one's, already out, released on Spotify. And I will also link to your Spotify page in the show notes. So anybody listening, just go to the show notes and click on their page and give them a follow, because that's like the easiest, most free way to help support bands.
Absolutely.
But anyway, you're talking about possibly releasing some more stuff or recording some stuff.
Yeah, so actually we thought we'd take the opportunity of being on to announce that we've got a new EP coming out. We're aiming for early May. I don't know if we want to leak the title or not, or
It'll be out May 1st.
So keep it a secret, okay.
Well, you heard it here first.
yeah, the EP is going to be titled Chill Pill.
Yeah.
We're super excited about it. We've been working with some great people to get it done. I think we're just waiting for everybody to hear it.
And so that, you said it'll be out in May. And so when you go in to like record, like what is, I guess, from the writing process to the studio? Because I know some bands go into the studio with everything fucking done. They're like, this is what we want to record, everything's done. And then other bands go in and they're like, we have a outline of a song, but we're open to ideas, and the song might change and evolve in the studio. Like, how do you guys approach it?
Yeah, definitely the latter. Dan will create like a really great foundation for the song, and work a lot on structure, and he and Patrick will work on melody and chord progressions, and then they'll usually send it to me, the drummer, and I'll work out at home what kind of parts I'm thinking of, just get a rough draft, and then I'll show it to them, and then we'll like go from there, and kind of like slowly build a product or a song that we all like and enjoy.
Right. But once you're in the studio, you're cool with changes happening?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like I said, I've seen a lot of people that are like, nope, this is how I want to do it. This is exactly how it is. And then other people that are like, no, I'll try a bunch of shit.
Sure, yeah.
See what happens. And I either approach is probably fine, but it's always interesting to me how pliable people are by the time you get to the studio, because studio time is not
valuable,
cheap.
Yes. Yeah.
So like, every minute counts. So the EP, coming out in May, and as far as you there was a tour somewhere, wasn't there? Or
There absolutely is. Yeah. We announced about a week ago that we were going on tour. So tour starts May 31st. We're starting in Albany.
Sick.
Making our way down south a little bit. We're making it all the way to Baltimore, and then shooting back up, ending in, I think, Vermont. But yeah, like a little week-long tour, but it'll be our first tour as a band. Definitely.
And now I had kind of said, before, I was like, I don't want to talk about shows because those go away. But like, there is a reason why I specifically brought up the tour, and that is because there's a lot of bands, I think, that are locally that almost feel like they're like stuck to being local. And I guess I just want to kind of pick your brain a little bit for local bands that want to do regional tours. Like, how do you make something like that happen in a market that may not be familiar with you?
Yeah, it's definitely hasn't been easy. Thankfully, I've got a couple of connections out of state from touring previously. Dan and Patrick know some people up in like Vermont because they lived there for a bit. So yeah, I mean, it's all about making connections. It's all about playing those local shows, being the opener for touring acts, following each other mutually on like Instagram or whatever you have to. And then when the time comes, reach out, be like, hey, we want to play in your area. Could you hook us up? Like, we'll open for you again. We won't have any pool, but as long as like there's a good show, we vibe together. Right. Let's get something to work. There's that, and then there's also just like a whole lot of research, like going on Reddit and being like, well, what are alternative rock
Vermont
booking
shows,
companies in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's a lot of that. It's a lot of cold emails. It's a lot of sending DMs that don't get answered or don't get opened. But every so often, if you're lucky, it sticks and you get a response.
And do you guys do like the EPK route with the, for those that don't know, the electronic press kit, like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every time we send those cold emails and DMs, we attach our EPK to it just to give like a good outline on who we are, what we sound like, We definitely don't have the easiest live setup in the world because we run like in-ear monitors and have the backing tracks and stuff like that. So basement shows and smaller venues and stuff like that are kind of harder to play at. So we like to be upfront about how difficult we are from a gear standpoint, but still maintain like as much professionalism as we can.
Right. And I think that's important too, like you said, letting people know that you may not have the pull, because a lot of venues, you know, it's all about how many people you're going to bring in, and if you've made friends with the band and you're going out to them, letting, you know, I mean, they'd probably understand you're not going to have the pull, but I think being like, hey, listen, like, people aren't going to come out to see us, but we'll work our asses off to make you guys look good.
Right.
And shit like that, I think, goes unlooked a lot. You know, so like when bands come to town, treat them well.
Right.
And then when you go to their town, they will treat you well.
Yeah.
There's no need for any competition anywhere on, you know, music wise, like whether it's a microcosm of a scene or national, like there's room for everybody. So.
Yeah.
I really believe that community and being cool to other bands will get you farther than almost anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Except for a rich parent. That could take you pretty fucking far. Yeah. So I think, you know, before we go, I wanted to hear another song. And again, on Weekend Spotlight, I had played Hostage, and then we just played Lab Rat. So what do you got for us for the second tune on this episode?
Losses,
and this one already released out there on Spotify. So I implore everybody, like I said, I always say a follow on socials or Spotify goes a long way, and it's free, and it just helps build shit. So give New Monarchy a follow and maybe go see him at a live show. But right now, let's check out the song Losses, New Monarchy, and then we'll be right back to wrap it up.
I'm in the new age of finding feelings. Hope has another meaning when your mind has a breach. God be my doctor to try and find my imposter before it gets any closer to my heart. So tired and slower and get a little older before it all comes down. All alone.
This is New Monarchy. And guys, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come up here and do this. Like, it's really cool, like I said, that I heard your song and then was like, hey, I want to play your song in the episode. And you're like, that'd be cool. And I was like, come on the show. And you're like, how about this Sunday? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, how fucking quickly it all happened. It was really, really awesome. But before we go, I just want to give everybody a chance to say what I refer to as your gratitude. So whoever wants to kick that off. John?
Awesome. I'll start. Two people immediately jump to mind that I want to thank is there's a man named Alan, who is my childhood best friend's father, who really inspired me to play drums and get, good at the drums and keep on practicing. And the second person is a jazz musician named Joe Barna, who I've actually just recently started taking lessons with, and I feel like I've gotten so much better at playing the drums, and I have a newfound passion for, practicing and creating. And yeah, those would be my first two.
My name's Patrick. I'd like to thank probably my piano teacher growing up, Bill Lupinetti. I wouldn't be where I am today as far as my piano skills if it wasn't for him. And also I would like to thank everyone that's come to our shows so far. And John for having such a massive pull when it comes to bringing his whole church congregation, that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a good couple of people come to mind. First that comes to mind is John's grandparents for giving us a place to practice, letting us take over their entire garage and just filling it with shit. Secondly, I'd like to thank Jamie at Undisclosed Records. They've been killing it with mixes. They did Hostage, and then they're also doing our EP, which so far sounds fantastic. Outside of that, I mean, I guess I should thank my wife. My wife's super supportive. Sorry, Megan. Super supportive. She always has been with me playing music, because it's definitely not it's not a cheap thing to do, especially when you're starting off, and she's been dealing with it for like 8 years. So thank you, Megan. Yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you, Andy, for having all of us on the show. We are very grateful. It was very quick. I remember eating my lunch at work, and I saw your message. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Let's do this.
I would also like to say thank you to Jamie. Honestly, a real saint. I was doing the mixing and the mastering for all of our previous stuff, and what a headache. So that has been awesome. And then lastly, all the bands that have helped us network and grow, especially on this tour. Shout out to Off Guard, Cemetery Weather, Anthems for really pulling through.
I played a gig with Cemetery Weather.
Oh yeah.
At Polly's.
They're amazing.
R.I.P.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those guys rock. We are excited to hit the road with them and make some memories this summer.
Hell yeah. They are New Monarchy. I am Andy Scullin. This is Unsigned518. I'll see you on the road. Unsigned518 is produced and hosted by me, Andy Scullin. New episodes are available every week wherever you stream podcasts. If you'd like to help support the show, please like and subscribe wherever you are listening. Or you could buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/unsigned518. If you would like to advertise on the show, send me an email at unsigned518@gmail.com. And to be a guest on the show, reach out to me through Instagram at Unsigned518. Take care of one another, and I'll see you next week.